Couple of key champions, Poppy, Nidalee. Take him away or first pick him here in the early onset of champion select.
Whoa!
That is pretty crazy.
Try to do the cool hairstyle, he just kind of failed a little bit. Anyway, you said it yourself. You ban away Poppy. Wicked's #1 pick.
Yes.
And when Wicked has a #1 pick, you just ban it. You always try to push him on second-tier champions for him. He should be able to play Nautilus. We've seen, you know, Wicked in the past play carries, like a Fiora. I think could also be an option for him.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that for some new viewers. Wicked has had 5 games on Poppy and 1 game on everything else other than Fiora, which has been 2. So it is his champion right now, and the best performance we've seen has been on Poppy.
And a lot of people will be thinking, why is there a Twisted Fate ban? We've only seen it a handful of times. Well, Kadril, it is his best champion. It's his most played all along the board. And it also gave Copenhagen Wolves a lot of freedom when it's available. They will be happy blind picking it early in a draft and give the counter pick over to somebody else on their team. We know that Wicked prefers the Poppy, prefers, you know, other picks top lane, so they didn't utilize that too much, but it's still another option.
I'm glad Huma have learned from the mistakes of Copenhagen Wolves' opponents Millennium and have taken away Poppy and Nidalee. We see Willem just hovering over the Jack, just showing that he can play it. Yeah, it's like, look guys, I know you didn't ban it out, but he carried 2 games real hard against Inspire.
He did, and like it is his champion, but I 100% understand not banning it, especially in game 1. I think there are better top lane picks for Willem as well, even though his Jax is very famous, and he will probably fall back on it later in case they do fall behind.
There's a lot of discussion here, at least, you know, picks that you can see that normally would be banned in the LCS that are available here. Rammus has been heavily banned. We've got Kog'Maw, Alistair, we've got Gragas available that's seen a couple of bans as well.
I was banned a lot in the semi-final.
Yeah, he was. A lot of these top tier picks are available for this pick and ban phase.
Willem usually draws a lot of those Rammus bans as well, along with Jax, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Huma maybe pick up now that Braum and Gragas have been picked up in first rotation for the Wolves.
I want to talk about this first pick, Lucian, and what basically happens for Huma. I don't think first picking Lucian is that strong anymore because there are AD carries like Sivir, who's super good in the current meta. You can play Jhin potentially. We know, of course, that Ezreal is also being used as a safe pick. And when you first pick Lucian now, and there are the likes of Braum open, he's directly a counter to you in teamfights already. Add in a Gragas then, you have a massive tanky frontline against a low-range AD carry.
Yeah.
It becomes so difficult for Lucian to deal damage.
And honestly, I feel like Wolves on their next rotation are fairly likely to do what they did in semis, and that was go, okay, put Kadril on Lissandra with teleport, put Pinoy on the Ezreal, and we'll just get Wicked whatever can cope with the top lane. No point in picking top lane for them right now. That's what I would expect looking at their games last week. But of course, Sivir is available now as well as another option.
And again, you can go Sivir Nautilus if you want to just stick to having that massive front line. Sivir is fantastic when it comes to buffing up these tanks because they actually have enough damage to take down an AD carry in these mid-game fights. And if you can just make sure they always get to that AD carry, there's nothing he can really do. So, 2 teams drafting very different, very squishy on the side of Huma. Obviously haven't shown the top lane just yet, but also went for Elise jungle. And Copenhagen Wolves, in my opinion, has the ability to just build a massive front line here with a Nautilus pick. Can also come in as the last pick for Wicked if needed.
Yeah, they haven't picked just yet, but we do have the lock-ins from Huma, which were Elise and Corki. So most likely going to see Corki mid lane this game and then Elise in the jungle. So looking towards the top laner still. There's the Lissandra pickup, most likely for Kadril. Could go on Wicked as well, but we've seen it more from the mid lane. And then Sivir for the AD carry.
And it's exactly the kind of pick Kadril likes. You can run teleport on it, you can get into other lanes. Yeah, exactly. You just get over the other side of the map, and he'll look to snowball either Pinoy or Wicked like we saw in the semi-finals. Interesting, something we didn't touch on too much is the Quinn ban. So that was banned away because Godpro and I believe it was CosQ in their semi-final were just going back and forth on the Quinn-Corki matchup, and whoever had the Quinn was just basically winning because they would win the laning phase super hard and end up snowballing off it. Godpro had a couple of misplays on it, but clearly they wanted at least the Corki available in the middle lane and force Kadril onto that Lissandra.
Yeah, makes sense. And there's the insta lock-in from Huma, the Nautilus going into the top lane for World. I hear the sigh coming in from Deficio. What, do you want the Rammus? What did you want?
No, I really like the Nautilus pick here. That's why I kind of wanted Copenhagen Wolves to take it in their rotation, because I don't think Nautilus really, outside of maybe you pick a Fiora and you go full late game, I don't think there's anything you can really do to destroy him in the laning phase. And I think Copenhagen Wolves could kind of predict, okay, Huma is running with double AD carry. They need some sort of protection, so a Rammus or Nautilus are the most likely picks to come in. But obviously, because you haven't seen enough of the damage deals of Copenhagen Wolves at that point, you wouldn't have picked the Rammus most likely and just gone for Nautilus. And I think it is a missed opportunity for Copenhagen Wolves.
I think this is one of the problems, though, for Copenhagen Wolves. Like, what do you pick into the top lane now for Wicked giving him counter pick? They actually lock in the Fiora, and he's had horrific performances on Fiora.
Not only performances on Fiora against Huma on Fiora. There was a specific game where Wicked teleported in front of Holy Phoenix, who was playing Lucian in a botched lane swap and died 1 versus 1 in this exact matchup. So that's going to that well again. It shouldn't turn out like that, but history, let's hope it doesn't repeat itself.
Again, in theory, ignore the names, ignore the teams, you know, picking Fiora.
Can we do that, though?
Well, no, we can't, but let's say it was like, Fiora into Nautilus is fine again. Once you get to late game, obviously you become a massive split push and you can destroy him. Just the team we saw in the semifinal go 3-0 against Millennium had Wicked playing tanks. And I think it suited them a lot better than what we've seen in the past. I think this, actually for Huma, makes it suddenly a very good draft, but them getting the Nautilus. Also, I like Bard. In many cases, when you have these comps here that wants to try and siege up and like catch people out of control, like Bard ulti into an Elise Cocoon, into Bard stun, is a lot of CC coming, and then your AD carries can take them down.
Right.
It's a lot of CC. First time we're seeing the Bard played for Huma, though. Braum, Nautilus, Alistair, Thresh have been like the champions that Cass has gone to. So now it's like, is this a champion that he's been practicing in secret, perhaps? Maybe just spamming games on it and just hasn't had to bring it out until now.
Well, we'll see in just a second. You can see all the Huma lineup right there. A lot of old veterans and old pros. And now you can see Copenhagen Wolves as well on this graphic. Hashtag HMA win if you think they're going to take this series. It is a best of 5, of course. So you can change your votes as we get through this one. And hashtag CW win. And you can see all the compositions as well on screen. I've got to be honest, I feel a little bit fearful for Copenhagen Wolves. Like, you look at the composition and you talk about what Deficio said. You take away the names, sure, I think it works. But the Fiora worries me.
It is a little worrying for me, especially when you look at what they are wanting to do with this. You want the Fiora and the Lissandra to be very strong so they can play it on the side lanes, and then you have a Sivir to wave clear and someone push a little bit in the middle lane and buy the extra time. So there's options there, but it's a little bit tougher than what Copenhagen Wolves were running in the semis.
All right, guys, let's get into game onto the rift for the first game of this best of 5 between Huma and Copenhagen Wolves. And this will be all fighting for the split?
It's
all
right. We've got to pause because we can get you on spring right now. Don't worry.
The spleen.
So again,
for spleen.
If we look at the pick and ban phase, obviously for Copenhagen Wolves, they're like, okay, we know Corki is going mid lane because you picked Corki and Lucian already. That's why we take our mid laner. Yes, technically a flex, and then we have the last pick for Wicked. So they very clearly said we are ready to run a 1-3-1 composition with a carry split pusher. That seems to be the plan for them going into this pick and ban phase, where on the other side of Huma, also a lot of strong picks in Corki Nautilus. I don't agree 100% with the first pick Lucian. I think then first pick Corki, at least in that case. I think that's a lot stronger. But they have this comp here now with a lot of damage coming in from double AD carry, and of course, a rock-solid tank in the top lane.
Well, it's not quite Malphite, but yeah, we do have Nautilus in the top lane.
In disguise.
I kind of want to... Oh, God. Someone help me. At this point, I kind of want to maybe expand that discussion because this is specifically something that we see more in Challenger than we see in the LCS, and that is being comfortable on a pick and the importance of that. We've seen a lot of Lucian and Kalista come from Holy Phoenix. Kalista was banned away, and honestly, last week, Huma, they tried the Sivir, they tried the Kog'Maw. It was only really the Kog'Maw game that Holy Phoenix himself looked comfortable on, so I'm not too surprised that they say, hey, let's give you this pick that you've had like 19 kills and only 4 deaths on. I mean, so that's where I feel they've gone with this.
It's also a takeaway from Pinoy, because it is his most played champion as well. So
got a pentakill.
Clearly, this is just 2 teams who've been also like not only scouting each other, but clearly they've been practicing against each other because coming to the semi-final, you obviously didn't want to play against the team you were facing, so you had to play against the other side of the bracket. That for both teams would mean they probably spend a lot of time playing against each other, not expecting both teams to make the final. And now here they are, knowing a lot about each other. Have played probably all these different matchups, and I'm sure every player here, if you ask them, are you confident you can beat whoever you're facing in lane? They're like, yeah, of course, you know, easy, you know, just give me a carry, I'll take care of business.
Well, as a quick update, some of the players just have a couple issues they're just sorting out because obviously new to the stage and then just sorting key bindings, that type of stuff, and we should be getting into game very shortly. In fact, I can just see it over there, so only a couple seconds left. But I want to touch on the bot lane matchup as well because we talked about like taking picks away and etc. And then like obviously taking the Lucian away from Pinoy. How is the bot lane matchup going to go? Because it looks like we're going to get standard lanes here. So on the Holy Phoenix with like a Lucian Bard seems like a very aggressive lane.
Yeah, I definitely like the Huma lane more when it comes to getting the early push. Brahm's shield does kind of break the Q from Bard. Just kind of stops it in his tracks and you don't get the CC coming in from it. So it becomes harder for Bard to like 1v2 zone them off. But just having double range, I think, is super effective. Also, very long cooldown on spell shield from Sivir, so bait it out, and then you can play aggressive for another like 12, 13 seconds. I think Huma is more than happy taking standard lanes, also because Nautilus, we know he does so well in the early start of the lane, especially against Fiora, he can push in early. So they're more than happy with standard lanes.
And not only that, what that also forces the Copenhagen Wolves to do is now play a little more defensive than they did in the semi-finals. Ku was on Nidalee in the majority of the games and was skirmishing early. There was that one game where he fought Joko on against Rek'Sai, just constantly fighting around level 4. Ku can't really afford to do that on this Gragas, especially not into an Elise if his bottom lane is getting pushed in, if his top lane is getting pushed in as well.
They messed up the golems. Holy Phoenix didn't get the last hit, so they gave instant level 2 to the Bard. Bard's level 2 power spike, especially when you talk to Crepo, is probably one of the worst power spikes in the game. But you get a heal. Congratulations.
Got it.
You get a heal.
Action.
That's about it. So, obviously a misplay from Huma in the bottom lane. It was supposed to be Holy Phoenix get the last hit, and then Bard is right next to the golem when it dies, and you then share the experience. Instead, Kars gets it, and he's now standing here being level 2 and doing nothing.
This top lane feels a little bit like opposite land, though, right? You expect to see Whirlib on the Fiora, he carry games. You expect to see Wicked on the tank. We've got the swap around. Neither has seemed overly comfortable on these playstyle champions. So I wonder whether this is going to be a critical factor in the game, or if it's going to rely a lot more on this bottom lane, like we've kind of discussed about the strengths of the AD carries.
Well, I mean, yeah, AD carries obviously once we get out of the laning phase. Pinoy's had some good team fights. We know Holy Phoenix is a great carry as well. But the laning phase itself, I think it's more on the junglers. We're going to see the first move. Ku is on top side. Let's see if he can do anything.
Maybe. Wicked's fairly low, but Whirlib will have to get out.
Oh, nice!
Predict with a flash, and Whirlib is going to get flashed on by Wicked. Riposte for the first blood coming out. First blood of the series, the Copenhagen Wolves.
So I had a quick chat to Pinoy about, Ku and Kadrol joining the team. And Pinoy was basically saying, yeah, Ku is just going to be the early game shot caller. He can basically decide where to go. We will, as a team, try and follow him and just set him up to be a carry early on. Well, clearly he makes the call. Oh, top lane is pushing. We talked about Nautilus will push in Fiora early. There's 0 early wards. And also, your jungler has not secured a Rift Scuttler on top side or even nearby. So there was no protection for Nautilus, who will push the lane. Ku is like, I'm just going to gank that.
Yeah.
Beautiful prediction on the flash with the body slam, following the flash from Whirlib, and boom, first blood.
Such a good prediction, yeah. Just such a small window that you can actually get that flash to work. It translates now into the Tracker's Knife for Gragas. So, we spoke about, can Ku get the same kind of skirmish impact? He's had the one gank. This is now going to give him a little bit more freedom out on the map.
I just want to see the flash again.
Yeah, this timing, just right at the end of that animation.
Yeah. You have like maybe a quarter of a second to make that decision, but oh man, it's happening again. Kadrol coming in now for the assist onto Whirlib. He's backing away, but not to the right side of the map, unfortunately, so Whirlib should be going down here. Another kill over to Wicked as he procs the Vital.
And we missed the start of that, but it was a teleport play from Kadrol up to the top lane. This was exactly what we were talking about, this is what Kadrol will do. He'll sacrifice some of this laning phase. You can see he now has a CS disparity, but he gets Wicked a second kill now. And a Fiora with 2 kills at 4.5 minutes into the game is very scary in this kind of 1-3-1 composition.
And that again really shows that Copenhagen Wolves coming into the pick and ban phase, they were ready to take that Fiora matchup because you run TP mid lane. And also, of course, your early game, or your jungler is very early game focused. 2 ganks, 2 kills, Wicked off to a fantastic start. It is tough for Rudy. He's on the bottom side now, trying to do something.
Well, here comes Cass coming in from the side, looking for a Cultic Binding, but both of the CC spells go wide as Nuxalot jumps to Pinoy, and they should be good.
And especially this jungle matchup, we quickly mentioned it before the gank with Ku at up top. Looking at the semi-final, I think there was a big difference in jungle impact. I think Rudy struggled a lot in the early game.
Yeah.
It is tough for him in this setup because his bot lane is like, we will do a camp on bottom side level 1, so you have to start top side. And he's like, okay, fair enough. He starts there, he starts on top side, he wants to do a normal clear. That exposes his top laner then, because he wants to go down and do red buff after the blue. What you can do is you just do the blue buff, and then you move in and you do Rift Scuttler on top side to secure that top lane and you ward for him. Or you actually just start on your own red buff. It's not optimal, but there are ways around it if you really want to make sure your top laner is not getting ganked and he has no vision. So that was a big issue for Huma. with that jungle start, and just a big difference in the early game for how Copenhagen Wolves have played it and how Huma has played it.
Rude is going to try ganking top lane here, but place the ward over the wall, sees the pink, and may look to clear it out. He doesn't have a bead on where Ku is currently, so it's a little risky. So we'll see what Rudy actually decides to do here. I think he's just placing down vision, might try and get this one in the tri-bush. Unfortunate, didn't quite land inside the bush.
The wards we kind of wanted to see a little bit earlier, just the one ward and then the Rift Scuttler. Also, of course, Willip shouldn't just blind push like he did.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfair blaming the jungler. Standard solo queue. Oh, I died in lane. Jungler? Anyone?
I mean, the other thing was the window between the two picks, right? Is because you're like, okay, well, jungler's just been topside. He's got to be going bot now, right? He's got to recall and look to go bot side off that first kill. Their mid laner's got TP. So Willip pushes up, and it's not the jungler that punishes him at all. It's somebody completely differently that you do not expect a Lissandra TP that early on. We didn't see how far up Willip was, but it looked like he must have TP'd right back into the minion wave and just looked to keep on pushing.
We don't normally see these TP plays for just one kill, right?
No.
It's actually often not even worth it because you lose like 10 CS in lane.
Yeah, sure.
But when the strategy for Copenhagen Wolves is so clearly get Wicked fed, so we can 1-3-1 and we don't have to wait for Fiora to outskill on her own to get through 2 or 3 items. Now Huma is reacting and Rudy's trying to gank top.
Yeah, well, they know it's pink, so there's some reaction time. Wicked's going to get ulted real quick, but Willip's low on mana. Rudy's coming in from the side. Grand Challenge has been issued onto Elise. Now Wicked is actually running away towards the enemy turret. K-Jaw's getting blasted in the mid lane. Wants to flash away from the final rocket, and I've got to question Wicked's pathing. I feel like he could have just run back to his turret, no?
He had flash as well.
Yeah. Am I missing something?
I wonder whether he didn't have the riposte cooldown available. So would he have looked to have like riposte the cocoon and then flash out? Would be the play in my head of what you do there. But
I was like, he's out, man. He's good.
Because it's like he definitely doesn't let the Nort ult.
All right.
He doesn't riposte that.
So he used the riposte to actually trade before.
Got it. Okay.
A little bit greedy played for him. You definitely want to save it, but he had flash ready.
Yeah.
And he was fairly close to the tower. That obviously would have been a way safer play to try and flash in on his own tower.
But what do you gain from running back to the enemy turret? Like, where's your escape route from there?
Really, the only thing you do there is like hold your flash and just soak up time.
Okay.
Like, I think as soon as you go that way, you've conceded defeat because there's no way you can realistically get out without like flashing over, running down, and that's just a messy situation. Maybe he thought he could somehow do the long con, but
get through the tower somehow. Flash over the wall, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, okay, let's see that again, because...
Riposte is used in a trade with Willip before. Again, I don't think that's very smart. And then, so obviously he's saying, I want to juke, whatever CC is coming my way. But he then decides to just turn around completely, and then he wants to get close enough to the wall down here, and then dash over the wall, and then dash over to the river. Still think when you had your flash ready, it would have been better to see the CC and then just try and flash it in towards your own tower.
Yeah, because I guess maybe that's... so I don't know whether I'm reading into this too much, but obviously we're on super low ping environment now, so those flashes are slightly easier than online. I wonder whether that's just a case of being used to the stage or not used to it in a while, as maybe is the case. That's a minor thing, but it's something that, we always hear about Forgiven. Is like, on this low ping environment, Forgiven almost never gets hit by CC. When it's skill shot based anyway.
Maybe but he also doesn't run around and run into the tower.
That's
so, I mean, that's counter.
Yeah. We'd definitely be questioning, Forgiven if he did that, but...
Anyhow, mid lane, Kadril, as we talked about, because he TP'd top and he kind of sacrificed his lane for Wicked. He is down in CS, his tower is taking some damage, and Huma has slowly but surely clawed their way back into this early game despite losing 2 early kills.
So taking a look at the keystones here, fairly standard. Of course, Bard will go for Thunderlords because of the ridiculous amount of damage he does in lane. But one of the more interesting ones is Fiora going for Grasp of the Undying. Sometimes you'll see Fiora go for Fervor of Battle instead because the amount of damage you get later, you can so easily stack it up versus lane sustain. It's definitely more of a selfish build, but I kind of wonder...
Is that a solo queue one?
Sort of, but like it has also been used in competitive sometimes. I'm just wondering, like, I don't know, is it better play in this one where it's so clearly defined that they want to go for before Wicked getting fed. There was an ultimate used in the bottom lane. The Temper Fate comes out. Holyfinger's looking for the double tap onto Benoit. One more auto attack should do it. Takes down the kill just under the tower. Now Noosla looking for the punish, but the Cosmic Binding will keep him alive for the double kill in from Holy Phoenix.
Another situation of Wolves where they could have escaped that gank. Benoit had his flash available, spell shielded the the Bard ultimate, so was really just running out. He threw out the Boomerang Blade to try and trade back, thought that maybe Senuxalot with this Ignite could have the damage to trade it back and forth. Both of them didn't use their flashes. Topside, though, there is a gank.
Yeah, and Godbro is also reacting from the middle lane. Volatile Spiraling will connect onto the backside of Wicked as he gets back to his turret. Ku was also in the top side, so Huma didn't want to fully commit onto that. Also, Kadra was reacting. Doesn't have the TP. Did use that a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
So ultimately, everyone will just kind of back away, and that play will fizzle out.
I definitely feel like this is the kind of game we expected. You know, standard lanes, a lot of skirmish, a lot of fighting. So Pinoy gets binded here first. It's good that already here, CW could have played a lot more defensive. Now Holy Phoenix and Constantly realize, oh, they're actually really, really weak at this point. We can trade with them. Holy Phoenix is playing super aggressive. And I guess Pinoy gets surprised that Holy Phoenix is flashing in his face.
The thing is, I don't think he is surprised because he decided to start attacking there. He decided
That's what
to
I mean. He wanted to attack, and then he's like, okay, if he steps forward, I flash out. But it's a misplay, no matter what. And it's been 3 kills now to Huma, where Copenhagen Wolves had flashes ready on every single one.
And more importantly, that was a 2v2 kill. Like, that wasn't even like junglers getting involved, because a lot of the early kills from Copenhagen Wolves was like, you know, Casual going to top lane, facilitating Wicked, Ku coming in, getting some nice ganks off. That was just straight 2v2. And Godbro in the mid lane, maybe picked up by Ku. He's going to go in for the flash, pops the ultimate, and also the tomb comes out from Casual. But Godbro is still alive, and the reaction play from Whirlip and Rudy may be enough with Cass coming in from the bot side. The reaction comes out from Pinoy and Nukeslot. This may just result in everyone backing away. And Holy Phoenix was thinking about coming up, but he'll get back to the farm a little bit faster.
And Wicked stayed top lane here, didn't join in with teleport, so he might be able to take this tower down. The Wolves diving very aggressive for Godbro, had cleanse ready and everything, so he stayed alive, but if they get a tower, definitely worth it.
And the other side of that is, not only did he have his cleanse, Kadril didn't actually have any damage at that point. He had the Catalyst and 2 Doran's rings. So between that and the Gragas, they didn't quite have enough damage to finish him off. They do get the cleanse, they do get the flash from that, but they used a fair amount. They used Ku's flash, they used the ult from Lissandra, it's coming back up. Gragas ult is coming back up, but it means for just a small window, there are these options available. However, Wicked in the top lane, because of all of that action in the mid lane, because Whirlip TP'd into mid, they get a tower from it.
And it's fun with item builds early on, how a lot of mid laners have changed the way they build Rod of Ages. Oh, let's see what Wicked can do. Early on, he's trading still.
A lot of damage going on to Whirlip. He's trying to block the last Vital by walking alongside the wall.
Not my definition of a lot of damage.
Well, he didn't get the final Vital, but even if he got that, Wicked's going to get turned around, though, with the Dredge line. Whirlip still has depth charge. I think Riposte is still down. Ku was there, however, so they will be backing away. Rui's also going into the top lane along with Godbro, but I think they'll all back away.
I think Wicked is looking at his 2 kills and being like, oh, I must be strong. I got 2 kills right here. Like realizing then that Fiora actually isn't really that strong at this point into the Nautilus, and actually loses out on a trade also with the minions hitting him. Kadril's still in trouble, but with these item builds, we saw so many mid laners now when they go Rod of Ages, you go Blasting Wand, like a Ruby Crystal instead of going for Catalyst, because you want more early power in lane. But still, I mean, going straight Catalyst is the safe option, and Kadril is that safe player. He's fine falling slightly behind, as long as he has an impact with his team. And he might get something here.
This could be an impact on the mid lane, though. Ku with the ultimate, and again, just the CC chain. We literally saw this last time the ultimates were up, and he just picked up a kill.
It's the same play again. This time, ooh, Wicked.
Top lane, Dredge line, and just the rest of the CC. Wicked's just dead. That's so much damage, nothing he can do.
Sneaky, sneaky. And that all actually came from that initial trade from Wicked onto Whirlip. They went back and forth. Wicked used his TP to get back to lane, and it was at that point where Rudy had snuck top and stayed there in that bush. So all from that trade and Wicked using his TP, Huma just go, okay, well, we know Wicked's going to come out forward in this lane now. He's going to try and farm it out. Let's just catch him.
Well, there is something I want to talk about, and I've been trying for the last 5 minutes, but constantly there's fighting.
I know what it is.
There's another fight now, by the way.
Here comes Ku. Here comes Kadril, and they don't have their ultimates though, so I'm not really sure what they plan to do.
It's going to be about the Ravenous side.
Yeah.
All right, so in the mid lane, in the bot lane. In the mid lane, we saw Cole being picked up by Godbro, and that was picked up very early. I was just wondering what your guys' opinions are on Cole versus, because we usually see it on AD carry, right? But not a whole lot in the mid lane.
Well, so often, if you have to go back early for whatever reason, you will get a second Thorns Blade. That is pretty dead now. You just get a call instead. And I think it is a lot better. The 80 HP you lose out is not good enough to not go call and get their, extra life steal or life back on hit, more gold coming in from it. So I think it's a fine item. We don't see it on Corki often because it's so easy to itemize him early with very cheap components. But clearly Gabro had to go back very early in this lane.
He's just completed it, so he got that value.
I honestly thought it was going to be about the Ravenous Hydra on Wicked, because so many times we've seen Titanic Hydra, but now, of course, RIP the trade. Yeah. You can't just swap it for free anymore.
I don't like the Ravenous.
It makes you so squishy.
Yeah. This is good once he hits like 3-4 items, then it's actually better. When to take down these big tanks, Titanic Hydra is better in the early game, and the 500 HP is just so much value because you will get enough damage anyway late game. I'd much rather get 500 extra HP.
Right, but what you've got to look at from this perspective is, in Wicked's head, we know he thought he could trade against Whirlip as it was.
Sure.
So what he does is says, okay, well, I'm going to push super fast. I'm going to be able to push every single wave as soon as I turn up here. I'll get the sustain. I'll just take these short trades. Never is this Nautilus going to be able to do anything against me. I'm Fiora, right? I've got this damage to go through it.
But that requires, it requires Nautilus basically to be a bot and just be like, oh, I'm not going to do anything to you then. Because obviously when he goes in for the quick trades, Nautilus will trade back with him, and he then gets ganked, and he dies instantly because he's so squishy.
I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just maybe putting some of the perspective from what we've seen so far.
Allowing us to get inside the head of Wicked.
Hey, it's what we've seen so far. Wicked tries to trade against the Nautilus, who's got Sunfire Cape already in this game. So that would be my assumption.
It is better late game, though. Yeah. So he might be saying, you know what, boys, I got 2 early kills. We're going full late game here.
80 minutes, let's go.
And because once you get like 3-4 items, let's see what happens.
Dredge line onto Ku. And, well, that was the ultimate, but that was a disengage from Ku, so I think I'm not really sure Huma can get in range now. Godbro wanted it. I don't think he had the package, though.
Wicked used Grand Challenge there. Not that it's the longest cooldown, but it now means that, you know, Wicked wanted to go in. A sign of perhaps miscommunication. Ku's just like, nope, get out of here. Don't want this at all.
Seconds.
Yeah. So it just means that Wicked, if he ends up having to trade 1v1, which he has done a couple of times, is going to be worse off for it than he would be.
Well, Cass just clearing out some wards in the bottom lane. We've got some item builds being completed now. Holy Phoenix has accelerated towards his Essence Reaver, but bot lane is not too different. Also picked up the Zeal, so pretty standard build from him. Most likely going to be seeing Rapid Fire Cannon, could also see the Shiv as well.
It's just one of these small things in the bot lane where technically it was never supposed to give 2 kills to the enemy AD carry. It's just been a farm lane almost the entire time. But then that misplay where the Wolves bot lane were too greedy and suddenly Holy Phoenix and Cass can punish them. And you just sit in that tricky spot where you can't really do anything in return. And you just end up giving 2 early kills to the enemy AD carry, which can be super impactful, obviously, going 5-10 minutes forward.
It can be, and you know, we would look at this bottom lane maybe 6 months ago and go Lucian Sivir, who, you know, if Sivir doesn't at least stay even or get somewhat ahead here, the later and later and later this game goes, she's going to have only utility and a bit of damage. Now, obviously, Sivir late game crits in a team fight with Ricochet are disgusting. So Copenhagen Wolves aren't that unhappy about it. Yes, it is a problem to overcome by locking down Holy Phoenix. Until he gets the QSS, Cadril should be able to deal with it fairly effectively.
That was the best match.
I just wanted more people to go in and just assume it went all the way through the wall. He only just trolled himself there.
Oh, man.
The worst one is when you're in base and you're like, you're trying to get along
the long wall.
Yeah, and you actually just go back into their base and it's like, well, sorry guys. I guess we're still here.
Well, the Wolves, because they have TP ready in just about 2 seconds for Cadril, is trying to make a play on the bottom side. When you do have Sivir, you just want to push. Like, you just want to push over and over and over. Tower has taken quite some damage, and you are setting up for a potential dive here. So I like the setup from Wolves. Nukes a lot.
Whoa, Rudy over the wall. Lands the Cocoon and will instantly flash over. Repels up while the rest of the team gets in range. Ku's dropping low, looking for this kill here. He's so low, but he's still not dead. The Red Buff wants him. But he'll take it out. Wicked now moving on to Godbro. He's out of mana, but he's able to kite away. Meanwhile, Cater just locks down Cass on the backside. He goes down. Follow-up kill onto Wicked. This is starting to be a massacre. Nuke's starting to split off from the team.
There he is.
Cater's trying to make something happen. Panoy eventually gets into the fight. Will speed himself up using heal. Repel comes up. Whirlip's trying to keep everyone alive. And Nuke's will just slam Rudy in the face with the Winter's Bite for a kill. That was incredibly messy, but that was, what, a 1 for 2?
I think so overall. Fairly extended, super messy fight. Double TP was used by the Wolves to try and get into that, but Wicked was going in when the rest of the team was going out, and it meant that he lost 3/4 of his health and had to flash away straight away as he got into this fight. Really messy one, but Copenhagen Wolves are looking to push after it.
Still, the setup I liked. You know, double TP ready, push in mid lane, then TP bot, and you force them off tower and you take the tower. It then turned into Cadril had to recall, so he's now really far away from mid, and then they're already waiting here, the Wolves, and they're being spotted. That's why Huma can engage on them and take what should be an even fight at this point. Red buff almost takes down Ku as well, and look at Pinoy, he has to run out of your screen, around the dragon, while the rest of the Wolves are fighting, and Huma is in a pretty good spot. We talked about Wicked, how squishy he is. Yeah, he's kind of almost selling his mid lane at the same time. Like, I'm gonna get knocked up, you're gonna get knocked up as well. And in the end, though, the Wolves, because Pinoy can now finally join in, and they're all so low on the side of Huma, so EUCS will say, oh, some support gold, that's a side stone. Boop.
For better or worse, you're gonna snowball my top lane. If I get caught, you get caught. If I get 10 kills, you get 10 assists. That's how it works.
There we go, sorted, that's the deal. Not really sure he's getting the best end of that one, but so Sweet Cat heading to the mid lane. Nice setup from Huma, they just took the tower right there. It's down 3 towers to 2. They actually are ahead in towers, even though it seems like every time Copenhagen Wolves are getting these punishes and getting towers.
Well, this is the kind of game the community wants. You know, there's no lane swapping, there's no slowing down. It's literally just trying to set up for another gank or another fight almost at every single moment. When you have a Fiora who's building Ravenous Hydra, you just want to stick her in that side lane. You technically never want to leave the side lane. Yet when the Wolves saw a chance to take a fight, they're like, double TP in, you know, go, let's just fight here. And then Wicked goes in and is obviously super squishy, ends up dying in the end, and it is even in gold.
Yeah.
5 kills as well.
And it does make for a bit more of a fast-paced, more entertaining game with these back and forths, but what it does highlight is these teams aren't looking to prepare plays. They're not looking a minute, 2 minutes into the future saying, well, what's our next play? How do we do this? What is our next teleport play? It's more like, ooh, you know, we could make a play now. Okay, let's double TP in because they're kind of reacting to this, and then Pinoy is late to the fight. So it's entertaining, but it also is that sign that there's no real precursor to the fights a lot of the time.
It's why it becomes inconsistent.
Right.
Because you rely more on the quick reaction of your team, but also the enemy team. Like, oh, let's try and set up a gank top. Okay, does he overextend? Go for the gank. It's not like, okay, he will 100% overextend because the wave is slow pushing towards us, you know, set up here. We have a deep vision to spot enemy jungler. La 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 la. We can see everything. We know what's happening. It's more like, go for the gank. Oh, enemy jungler's here. Take the fight.
Yeah. Old school.
But isn't this the reason why we weren't expecting these two teams to win in the semis? Because like Copenhagen Wolves, like they're not like a macro-based team, neither are Huma. It's all about the big plays, like last year Unicorns of Love kind of style. But then you look at Millennium and Inspire, and they were like the macro teams, right? They would like pick people apart.
I lost a lot from Millennium.
Yeah, I know you did in week 4. That was your fault. I'm still saying it's something you did. I don't know.
They looked really, really good the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And they were making good, you know, macro plays. They were snowballing early game, but obviously if you snowball early, it becomes a lot easier being a shot caller because almost everything you say is correct. No matter where you go, you can win the fight and get a kill. But against Inspire, they honestly got exposed. In lane swaps on a macro level, Copenhagen Wolves gonna run really fast to this tower and hit it.
Got it.
Kill it,
Run
force,
real fast away.
Huma away. But yeah, no, I mean, Millennium went downhill. And then, obviously, at the semi-final, they kind of
wasn't even downhill. It was like, you know, kind of steady across a cliff, and they just
went to the cliff and just kind of jumped out.
Week 5, that series against SK where they crushed them was just like holding on with fingertips.
Yes,
like,
it's when the car is like toppling over,
and then Wicked
like, oh, we're good, we can do it, we've got the balance. Nope.
Wicked stepped on the fingers, and he fell down the cliff.
Oh, that's exactly how it went.
Yeah.
Lion King all over, almost.
The reverse Lion King.
Yeah, that's not where my mind went, but I'm glad you brought that out, Deficio.
Yeah, man, I was not expecting you to make a LionKing joke.
No.
But,
I mean, that used to be my favorite thing when I was a kid.
So the one matchup, speaking of apparently Mufasa himself in this top lane in Wicked,
oh, wait, it's not Mufasa. He's not Mufasa.
He was the one that...
Millennium was Mufasa.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry, Scar. I meant Scar. I'm sorry.
Man, didn't you have a child?
I'm just gonna...
I'm out the devil out of that metaphor.
This is a duo cast. I'm out.
All right, see ya. All right, so Deficio.
Yeah.
How about this mid lane, huh? There's a lot of posturing going on. The team's just trying to fight over vision. Is this the most optimal play?
To fight over vision or run around mid lane?
Run around mid lane, which is what they're doing currently.
They're basically waiting for Dragon. Now Dragon is there, so now we're going to get a Dragon fight, which again is something we don't see too often. Teams often say like, oh, we can split push instead, you know, we're going to trade for a tower. But both teams are around it, so we're definitely going to get a big team fight.
Oh
Here we
yeah,
go.
because Ku wants it.
Look at these
the ultimate,
predictions.
but Repel comes up, and this time Rudy reads Ku. As Kadro on the backlines lands a good ultimate onto 3 players. Ku now comes in for another body slam. Rudy does not have Repel this time around. Holy Phoenix looking to go big. Tempered away onto 4 people. And EUCS is still going deep. His team's not even there, but I'm Braum. Let's go. Pinoy takes the one in the backlines because everyone's just fighting everywhere. And that's a 2 for 0 over to the Wolves.
Did we just watch a support go in and like try and 1v2 them in the back line, get a kill,
survived.
and then flash out as well? What a great play.
That's the manliest support I've ever seen.
Well, no Dragon Wicked is going to try and get a red buff. And then see, he has a pink there, so he might be able to sneak in behind them. Because now it's 2 squishies tanking Dragon.
Yeah, there's no smite here. I'm back.
Look at Wicked. Oh, welcome back.
Between a Dragon and a Wicked.
He's
Gonna go into Wicked. No! That's the easiest kill Wicked has ever had.
I don't even know what's going on here. Well, the Dragon's so low. Someone hit it, please. Who did I even go over to? Oh, Wicked flash over the wall. And instantly picks up the kill.
Wicked got it. Wicked got the Dragon.
Wait, how did he get the Dragon?
It was like 50 health and he just like hit it. We'll see again. Super late into this replay. So this was the fight you so rightly predicted as well here. The explosive cask, you know, the repel, easy to do. So this is what Kadrol does. This is, honestly, we've seen Kadrol do that in multiple games now where TP's in has massive impact. And now it was EUCS time to shine. All the way through the ult. Let's go, boys.
Leroy! And he gets the kill. And also getting on the backline.
Not 10k DPS coming out of that, though, unfortunately.
But
so
the probability of that working is very high.
Okay, we're going to have to enhance on this. Let's go for some CSI.
Rotate 70 degrees. Observers, get on that.
Figure this out. Because I'm pretty sure Wicked gets it. He just literally autos it.
Why is Huma trying to take the Dragon here when Ku is still alive with Smite?
Like, look at Wicked. He's just behind Dragon Ball Z here. And there's like, oh, Holy Phoenix. Hello.
Godbro puts out so much damage, though, right now.
And also, Copenhagen Wolves have been tanking the Dragon for the last, like, 44 seconds. And now Wicked...
What was that?
What even was that? How did he get it?
It wasn't even like Titanic, and it looked like a Senpai cape or something.
Did he Ravenous, like, active?
It didn't look like it, but Deficio is on the job.
That's like the only auto-attackless.
Yeah, it looked like he was supposed to be when it happened.
If he just like Hydra procced it,
because he was CC'd.
No,
it's red buff.
Is it just red buff?
Yeah, he had red buff.
Well,
okay.
So Wicked sets up this play by stealing the red buff first.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it. Steal the Dragon. More fighting, by the way.
Wicked try and contest the red buff here. Rudy comes back down. Ku, there's the ultimate, knocks Rudy into the team. He'll be going down. There's no way he's surviving that. Kadrol's here with another great ultimate. Cass gets CC'd into infinity. Holy Thing's putting a bit of damage onto Pinoy, but he backs away as the rest of the team comes in from the north. Now Werlub's trying to back away, looking for some CC onto Nautilus. He lands the dredge line onto terrain because that one doesn't move. 2-0 over to Copenhagen Wolves again.
Every time we have a replay, we come out of the replay, we can go like, all right, about 30 seconds, right? And there's something like this again is like in the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves. Maybe it's the second red buff they're fighting over. Baron is being started though. I didn't hear what you said.
I said it's fine.
It's alright. Kadrol's in. Have more fighting. Godbro looking to take down Kadrol. He goes down, but the Baron has been completed out from the Copenhagen Wolves. World is being chased out. Nautilus goes down. That's a 1-for-1, but the Baron over to the Wolves, and the Baron power play begins.
Yeah, it begins now on this composition that wants the side lanes to be strong for themselves. Now Wicked gets to go over in a side lane with that Baron buff. You'll have the mid lane as well with the 3-man stack. So this is the fight again. We came out of a replay right into this. So Ku this time gets Rudy with the cast because Rudy doesn't have his repel available. Same play from Kadrol. Once again, E in, W 2 people or 3 people, ult yourself. It's super standard Lissandra, but he's been very consistent in the few games you've seen him actually making that play work for them.
That's a bit of a different build as well compared to what we normally see. He's not going Hourglass because he's ulting himself every single time due to cleanse on Godbro, and you know there's going to be a QSS coming in from Holy Phoenix. So he just uses basically his own ulti on himself to stay alive. I still like Hourglass coming in because it buys even more time with your threat sitting in that backline, but because the fights are so quick and it's like pop Sivir ulti, you know Gragas is going to get to the backline. We've seen Sir EpicSkillshot get to the backline a few times, and you know Wicked is going to be there, so you actually don't need to buy more time as the Lissandra. You just want as much damage almost as possible to get targets low, and then the rest of your team follows up with this insane mobility. And that's a problem from Huma. It's something we highlighted in the pick and ban phase. Who is dying?
He is.
Not yet.
Dropping low, but he's going to back off. Got a TP coming in from the backside from Whirlup. Going to be using the depth charge here, and the rest of the team will be looking to follow up. That Braum ultimate is zoning everyone from Huma, looking for the re-engage now from Cajal. Instantly CC'd by the Cocoon. They might be able to pop it, but no. There's the ultimate in from Cajal. He'll be keeping Rudy in place. Just Suicast this time connects the magical journey onto the terrain. Now Godbro, he's trying to get back into the base, but Cass is not going to be so lucky. Wicked will be securing his fate. A 3-0 over to Wolves this time around.
Yeah, I don't think Nuxalot's really tanking if he wants to, but so that whole fight kicks off with Ku getting caught, and then Huma, instead of kind of readjusting when they're like, well, Ku's out of the fight, Huma just go, okay, well, just kill the one. Just get something. Get anything from this fight. Nautilus ult is used on a Gragas that nobody is able to auto-attack or even deal damage to anymore in the fight. Ku is already out, and that Naut ult goes down. So Whirlup just TPs in, and we've spoken about Whirlup on tanks. Just doesn't seem to have the same effect as he does on a carry. Because, you know, he's got to prioritize now a squishy target. Who have you got? A Sivir that has a, you know, a spell shield? You try and go for the Lissandra? Well, she wasn't there. Watch for the Nautilus coming in here. He just goes for the low health target. It's the only person he can get straight away, so he's like, I'm just going to throw my ult out, and it does nothing from that situation. That's a lot of disengage. Then Whirlup goes in into 4 people and doesn't really have anything he can do here.
I think there's so much of this, again, falls back on champ select when you first pick the Lucian and the enemy team goes Braum Gragas. Like, team fighting is so difficult for you, even if you have a front line in Nautilus. Cass now might be going down. He's all alone, so we don't need play-by-play in this one.
Rip.
But, like, you have this double AD carry set up with the early pick Lucian into Braum Gragas, and then later on, Lissandra came in. So there's so many ways for Copenhagen Wolves to just literally deny the AD carries from ever auto-attacking anything. Because if they step too close, there's so much CC from multiple members and enough damage from like Wicked popping in, and then of course Cajal always ulting himself. I feel like Copenhagen Wolves, especially in that first rotation, just got such a good setup to deal with team fights, despite picking Fiora late as well, because the other 4 members can just make up for everything that Fiora would lack in a fight, and actually set her up to do well. It's like, we got massive front line, we got mobility from Sivir, we got tons of CC against double AD carry. Like, have fun ever dealing damage.
It's also a simple composition to run because Cajal, like, the roles are very clean cut, right? Like, Cajal jumps into the back, pops his ultimate, zones people away, the front line tanks, and the Wicked comes in from the side, or they 4-1. Like, it's fairly simple where, you know, Huma are trying to execute something a little bit different with the Bard coming out, and yes, he's had good ultimates, but it's usually because of being on the back foot, and it's just, you know, Nuxalot is going to come in and 1v5 you anyway, so...
Yeah, that is going to be the case. I wonder now, we've got 3 QSS finished on Huma. One's now in the Mercurial Scimitar on Holy Phoenix. So even on the Nautilus, they're like, well, I need to get out of this crowd control. Need to have some impact in these team fights. Also for the Fiora ultimate that you can get rid of. So there is obviously a lot of utility coming out from the QSS.
Yeah.
But it's one of these things that, unless now we see it work perfectly from Huma, that's a lot of gold into these defensive resources, which is like, well, we can't really turn a fight back into it. I think it's good pickups, though, all down the board.
It just seems so much of Huma's plan with their picks, where they build around early game in like, okay, we pick Bard, so we have Bard Lucian, strong 2v2 lane.
Yeah.
Corki's always going to have pushing power in mid lane. Nautilus will push early against Fiora. So we have 3 pushing lanes, and we have an early jungle lane Elise that is stronger than Gragas pre-level 6. So we play around winning lanes and winning the jungle matchup 1v1. And then we use that to take like the Lucian Bard on once they take him bottom, we rotate them around. Bard is fantastic at getting into an enemy jungle, you know, creating picks, setting up tower dives, and catch people off guard with his ulti. But he couldn't do that because Rudy, first of all, wasn't there in the early game, where Coop managed to pull up a few ganks. And then also with Cajal, you know, TPing around, despite Huma getting that double kill bot lane, Wolves kept it even. And then we started getting these team fights coming, where the Gragas and the Braum and so on just have so much impact, and the Lissandra from Cajal.
Well, here comes the bot lane push in from the Copenhagen Wolves. I feel like Huma should be able to defend this. Got a bunch of wave clear. Top lane is going to be split pushing though, and Whirlup is going to try and stop him, but I think Wicked's actually going to take this one away. No, Whirlup is able to clear out the minion wave.
He doesn't have to commit right now as well. He's super strong, so he can just walk up on the next wave. Pinoy.
Onto Pinoy, flash over the wall from Rudy, but only connects the Cocoon onto the front line. Now the TP out from Wicked. Got a couple seconds for Huma to do something, but Holy Phoenix is down for the count. So is Rudy. Copenhagen Wolves just running over Huma right now. Bot lane tower will be going down. So will the inhib. This may indeed be the game here, gentlemen. Copenhagen Wolves have the small minion wave, but they have the tanks just to tank up the turrets and keep those minions alive. And what really can Godbro and Whirlup do with 40 seconds left on those death timers? Not a whole lot, I have to feel. Copenhagen Wolves just trying to zone them away. ZZ Rock Portal goes down, but Copenhagen Wolves are onto the Nexus and will be taking game 1 in this best of 5 against Huma.
It was more of the same from the Wolves from last week. Ku manages to get the early game impact, manages to snowball the lanes with Kadrol's help, and from there, Wolves are like, okay, well, we'll play the same game plan. Don't even need the same champions. We were worried. Was it the Nidalee? Was it the Poppy? Seemingly not in this first game. They have both banned away. The Fiora does work for Wicked. Ku on the Gragas does get the same kind of impact.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Wolves drafted 4 picks that would do so well in team fights, and then 1 split pusher as the pick into the Nautilus. And when they were technically supposed to struggle early game against Huma, they managed to stay even because of Ku, obviously having a good early game, but also some misplays here and there from Huma, and then we start getting some of these fights where Copenhagen Wolves comps is just so much better, and that's the crazy thing, right? Huma put everything in the early game, I feel, and just couldn't play well enough around it, and especially Rudy didn't have the impact we expected from a jungler like him.
You know, I don't think that's the wrong thought process to have, though, going off the information they had out of, like, regular season, out of playoffs. When you look at, like, the Copenhagen Wolves, oh, he's on Fiora, that's fine. He'll probably just outplay himself and just teleport onto Holy Phoenix and we'll pick Lucian, right? But then he got 2 kills early because he was set up by Ku, and this is almost a different team now. You know, we were talking to Nukes a lot, and he was just like, actually, these 2 players have introduced a lot into our team now. So they are playing against a different setup, and I think they have to approach it in a different way.
And it is definitely more team play now from Copenhagen Wolves than individual performance like it was before they got these new players, especially because of Kadrol coming in and being the TP player and very vocal as well.
Well, that's our insight. We're going to throw it over to the analyst desk to take a look at the game 1.